Hello, everybody. This is Philip Wilkerson. I'm going live. I'm working on a presentation I had to do this week in front of an audience or a virtual audience, but I thought instead of sitting down, I would try this standing up. So I'm testing my audio in front of you, my live audience, as well as soliciting feedback. So if you're watching this live, please give me feedback in the chat if you hear me clearly or if you don't hear me clearly. If you're watching this later, just please give me a comment, shoot me a DM or a message. As you seem fit. But I'm just going to go ahead and go through this presentation. Hello, everybody. My name is Philip Wilkerson. I work at George Mason University Career Services. I'm also a member of the oldest and coldest fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. And I, too, am a leader. And so, with that being said, when I was growing up, I had this vision of what a leader looked like. So, if you look here, I have three different images. So on the far left is the image. You see that gentleman with the high top fade? Yes, that is, I think, approximately a 6-year-old me. And I'm putting on medals to my father, retired Colonel Philip Linwood Wilkerson Jr. And on the other side is my mother, Dr. Carol James. And so, as you can see with there, I saw a vision of leadership directly from my parents, both my mother and my father. My father as a military colonel leading troops into battle. He went to Desert Storm, very authoritarian. When he walked into the room, he commanded that room. He took charge of that room. He was just a, bigger than life figure when I was a kid. And also when I was a kid, he was do as I say, type of person. I did what I was told. I was a very obedient child. I don't know, I kind of rebelled a little bit later, but just in my vision, I saw a man that was full of integrity, honesty, um, go-to-itness, assertiveness, confidence. And so I thought that's what a leader was. And then my mother, she's a doctor. Without being said, that takes a large level of intelligence, an ability to meet with different people, to heal people. And so, from my mom, I saw that, academic excellence, being able to go through med school. That's what a leader looks like. And then on the far right, you see the image of my grandfather, Dr. Charles James. Now, what's mostly remarkable, or always remarkable about him, is that he was a doctor in the segregated South in Charlotte, North Carolina. And the ability to be educated and go to McHenry Medical School and get a degree in the 50s in medicine and be able to practice medicine is quite remarkable. He served in World War II, and he was a pillar to the community in Charlotte. People listened to him. If you know anything about our history, if you were a doctor, people would view you, a black doctor, they would view you as less credible. And white patients weren't allowed to go to you. You can only go to a white doctor if you was a white patient. You can only go to a black doctor if you're a black patient. And so he was really a pillar in the Charlotte, North Carolina community because he was a leader. He was healing the community, and sometimes he was doing it and not getting paid the equitable compensation as his white counterparts. He was, and sometimes he was paid in other things like food and someone fixing his car because his patients couldn't pay him the same as they could. So he was still doing a service to the community. And so I shared those two examples right there to let you know that for me growing up, I had this high bar set of what a leader, what a person in the community meant. And for me, that was very daunting. I like to joke with people, but I was a intellectual underachiever, right? I was someone, I knew I was smart. I knew that when I actually cared about school, I'd be successful. But when I don't care, it was hard for me to get it motivated. So when I saw people of academic excellence or military service, I was like, what am I going to do with myself? I wasn't really interested in going to the military. I wasn't interested in medicine. And so I had doubts of whether I would have a career with purpose and achievement and not say just prestige, but impact. as much as my father, my mother, my grandfather, and all those before me. But luckily for me, I pursued my career in higher ed. And the best blessing about a career in higher ed is that while we're training and developing our students, we have multiple opportunities to train and develop ourselves. And so through that, I was able to understand my leadership style, understand my strengths, my gifts. And one of those gifts actually is public speaking. I'll share a quick story. When I was in the second grade, third grade, I remember that I had a teacher that would give me all these high marks, great, smart, knows and stuff, but said talk too much. That was my negative feedback, was talk too much or talks to his neighbor. And so this teacher would move me to all these different spots in the classroom, and I still would get the feedback that I talk too much. And I think one day I told that teacher, I was like, it doesn't matter where you put me in the classroom. I'm going to talk to the person next to me. And I say that to say that I think early on, I should have been able to understand that the gift that I had was the gift of gab, the ability to talk, the ability to meet new people and talk to anyone. And as I crafted that ability, I think also magnifying that ability to talk in front of others, to not be as afraid to do quote unquote public speaking. I joined Toastmasters in 2019, not because I was gravely afraid of getting in front of an audience and talking. I joined Toastmasters because I wanted to be more refined and rehearsed in my craft of public speaking. In my mind, I was just dealing with the law of probability, meaning if I'm going to meet people, the best way to meet multiple people at once was to talk to as many people as I could. And so for me, public speaking was a vehicle for me to talk to as many people as I could at the same time and yield at least one or two positive relationships. I think of every time I speak in front of an audience or every time I go to an event or a large gathering, I have the opportunity to yield at least one or two meaningful relationships out of that. So every time I hit the stage, law of probability, whether it's 5, 10, 500, 1,000, I have an opportunity to impact at least 1 to 2 lives. And the ratio may be different in those audiences, those size audiences, but I still have the same amount of impact. I still have an opportunity when I talk to a large group of people to impact at least 1 or 2 lives. And that for me gave me purpose. And for me, that's where I tapped into my leadership. And so as I've navigated life and my profession and navigated the journey that I'm going through in life, I realized that I too am a leader. I'm a leader with my words. I'm a leader with my actions. I'm a leader with my personality, my gifts, and my strengths. And that leadership takes many different forms for the introverts, the extroverts, for those that are good at public speaking, for those that are good at data and research behind the scenes. Leadership has multiple different opportunities for you to succeed. Leadership provides many different lanes for you to succeed. And it's not a matter of comparison or comparing yourself to others or those that you look up to. It's a matter of looking within and finding the gifts and strengths and the things that give you passion and purpose and direction. And so if I were able to talk to that kid with the high top fade that was putting medals on his father, or that kid that was playing cards with his grandfather that had amazing wit and great stories, I would tell that person that you are still honoring your father, your mother, and your grandfather, and you are being a leader like those that you look up to, but you're being a leader in a different way. So I really thank you for your time. Hopefully this has been impactful for you and has allowed you to have one moment to look within in the gifts that you have. I'm happy to answer any questions or concerns, or be connection or someone as a resource, and have a blessed day. So that was the end of my presentation. If you have any feedback, I'm presenting this week, I believe on Thursday. So I'm open to any feedback or suggestions, any help. Please just leave it in the comments below or give me feedback later. Thank you very much.